Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Shakira Pale. In the headlines, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says government will take serious actions for illegal entry into Dominica. Dominica has opened its borders to non-nationals, and Collio MP says she looks forward to infrastructural developments in her constituency. Details of the headline stories and more when we return. Welcome back. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says the travel advisory which the United States of America has on Dominica should be removed. Honorable Skerrit says Dominica is one of the countries which dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic the best.
Let me say to the United States, this travel advisory that they're issuing is stop your ignorance and so forth. If you do not know, call me, call us, we'll give you information and so on. But this unnecessary travel advisory that's based on nothing, really. Dominica is one of the top countries in management of COVID-19. And we're prepared to share our practices with countries like the United States. But this is not necessary. If you're saying don't come to Dominica, then what about your country? Why you want to create this problem between you and the citizens of the Caribbean? Why would you tell people don't come to our country about COVID-19? We haven't had a case in how many months, and everybody who was tested positive, knock on wood, thank God, who in Dominica has survived, including an 85-year-old man with all sort of underlying conditions. So let us not be so indifferent to the plight of the developing world.
Meantime, during a press conference, the Commissioner of Police, Daniel Carbon, informed that a reward will be offered for information on illegal entry and exit of Dominica. Alia Martin has more in this report. Chief of Police Daniel Carbon has announced that the police are willing to offer reward for information on anyone illegally entering or leaving Dominica. Mr. Carbon says police have effected several arrests in recent weeks of Haitian nationals who have overstayed in Dominica.
Over the past few months, the police have arrested 22 individuals for illegal entry, and 5 vessels were intercepted. In an earlier press brief, I informed the Haitian community that they were welcome to visit and remain in Dominica. However, they must follow the laws of Dominica. Some of the Haitians have decided to use Dominica as a transshipment point to travel to other countries through illegal means. I have warned against leaving and entering Dominica illegally. Some of our citizens are overseas and want to return home. However, they must do so legally by coming in at a designated port of entry. The government of Dominica, the Ministry of Health, the police, and other agencies have worked very hard to make Dominica COVID-19 free. There are protocols in place for people to enter and leave Dominica. All these measures were instituted to prevent COVID-19 from spreading. I am taking this opportunity to once again appeal to those who are bent on entering and leaving Dominica through unauthorized ports of entry/exit to desist from doing so. The police is calling on the communities to provide any information that will assist the police in preventing people from leaving and entering the island illegally.
Minister for National Security and Home Affairs, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, says that a no-nonsense approach to illegal immigration has been adopted by government. Minister Blackmore has warned that any foreigner found entering Dominica illegally will be deported.
The persons coming in from the back door are coming in from hot spots, and therefore they pose a very serious threat to all of us. And these people are very dangerous and they are very wicked. to say the least. There's another frightening phenomenon that we must address frontally as a people, because persons living in Dominica illegally and coming in, they must be facilitated, they must be transported, they must be harbored in the various communities. And I'm referring to persons who are very well organized in the various parts of the country. You call them a syndicate. And therefore, if we know something about persons who may have come into the country by way of the back door, you have a moral responsibility to say something to the police. And if you know anybody who is involved in that syndicate I just referenced, you also have a moral responsibility to report them to the police. Let me give you the assurance again that this administration will continue to provide the police with all the resources needed to stem and to frontally deal with that situation. This, in my mind, can be characterized as a war against us in Dominica. Everyone who was found attempting to leave this country illegally, or who came into this country illegally, who is not of Dominican nationality, will be sent back on a plane to the country. Every one of them will be sent back. So nobody is going to be kept at the prisons at the cost of the state or at a hospital. Back to daddy, where you come from.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says COVID-19 has heightened the threats posed by illegal immigration.
The majority of us in this country would be going about our lives with the impression that the war is over. Certainly, in many respects, we have allowed ourselves to put our guard down and to go about our daily activities with a mindset of abandonment in regards to the protocols and the guidelines set forth by the Ministry of Health. Now, obviously, if there are positive cases and we have to do contact tracing, then we understand people's behavior will be different. But the point we keep making to the citizens and residents of our country is that the threat is still there. And while we have opened up our borders first to our citizens and residents to come in through or to the country, back to the country, so far we've had in excess of 300 Dominicans returning home. And by and large, the system has worked very well with the screening, the testing, the sending people into quarantine, and to ensure that as far as practically possible, we minimize, if not eliminate, the risk associated with the reopening of our borders. That doesn't mean that everything is fine and we should continue to say that we're COVID-free in Dominica, because we have a loophole in that of the illegal entry into Dominica. And there are people coming in particularly from Martinique and Guadeloupe, both Dominican citizens and non-Dominican citizens.
Relevant authorities have been instructed to do all that is necessary to curb illegal immigration. Alia Martin for Government Information Service. The government of Dominica on August 7 opened its borders for non-nationals. Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Irving McIntyre, says since opening its borders on July 17, so far over 300 Dominicans have returned home. It has been 71 days since the last reported case of COVID-19 in Dominica, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness is working extensively to keep it that way.
The public is assured that our primary focus is and will remain the health and safety of Dominicans. Therefore, the Government of Dominica, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, and other stakeholders, continues to take all necessary precautions to keep all Dominicans safe. Protocols have been formulated and implemented at all ports of entry for low, medium, and high-risk travelers. And as a precaution, all persons entering Dominica should have a negative PCR test from a nationally approved or state-regulated lab. This test should be taken 24 to 72 hours prior to arrival. Travelers will also need to submit a health screening questionnaire with the PCR test results uploaded. This questionnaire needs to be submitted 24 hours prior to arrival. The correct document can be found at domcovid19.dominica.gov.dm.
Minister McIntyre continues to explain what will be needed before arriving into Dominica.
Once the correct form has been submitted, a code will be generated and subsequently approval may or may not be granted. It is because we have been adhering to the necessary public health and social measures put in place that we have been able to get to this point of no active cases and no evidence of community spread. We all remember the anxiety associated with a country on lockdown, and we seek the cooperation of the public to keep this from happening again. We can appreciate the fact that the situation remains fluid. This pandemic has taught us that changes may be necessary as we continue to monitor the global, regional, and local situation. The ministry will continue to review protocols and make changes as necessary. We thank all of you Dominicans here and abroad, and all those intending to visit, for your continued support and cooperation.
The Bay Oil industry has made over $1 million in the last year, says Parliamentary Representative for the Lapland constituency, Honorable Kent Edwards. In his contribution to the 2020-2021 budget debate, Honorable Edwards says that over $400,000 was spent to rehabilitate the Bay Oil facility.
This government has gone further, and there is a Bay Oil industry in Dalis as well. And we know the Bay Oil industry brought in well over $1 million last year. And the Bay Oil distillery was also renovated and is now operating. Mr. Hendricks Williams is the one in charge of this one. And a cost of $458,000 was spent, and a contractor from Dalis itself too was given that contract. Jefferson Joseph is his name, and he did a splendid job, and this is now in operation. I was there last week. And this is already showing great benefits for our people.
Mr. Edwards also highlighted the work done to the Toloma factory in Dalis.
The Lapland Agricultural Training Center will be repaired with support from the World Bank funded project to foster greater opportunities for our farmers and to encourage them for further production so that we could feed our people and sell for the outer world. Just to say, Mr. Speaker, that $426,000 has been spent to process, to fix and to put back in order the Dalis Toloma Cooperative building. This building is very important because Toloma, as what we call arrowroot, is one of the main cash crops in Dalis. And this building has been derelict for a while, but this government saw it fit because there is a vibrant Toloma group in the area, and this government gave them money, and they have gotten a local contractor who employed local people to rebuild the Toloma factory and is now controlling the Toloma industry in Dominica.
Minister for National Security and Home Affairs and Parliamentary Representative for the Maho constituency, Honorable Rayburn Blackmore, says the 2020-2021 budget reflects the mandate of the government. The budget was presented by Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, on Tuesday, July 28, under the theme, The Road to Dynamic Dominica, Fostering Economic Resilience. While giving his immediate thoughts post the budget presentation, Minister Blackmore says the budget represents everything the Labour Party administration stands for.
I think this budget speaks to what the Labour Party stands for, and that is to invest in people, notwithstanding the challenging time that we're experiencing. And this budget, one would have expected to talk about cutting back, laying off people, and bearing in mind that we have a significant payroll at the end of the month, and notwithstanding COVID, nobody in the public service is going to lose his or her job. And then we have to create productive enterprise within the economy and to target persons who are involved in the various serious sectors. For example, you have a number of persons who are involved in tours within the tourism sector, and we were talking about a break in import duties on vehicles, excise duty for persons who are going to use their vehicles exclusively to carry purposes within the tourist industry.
The Maho MP says that the initiatives outlined in the 2020-2021 budget clearly shows that the government cares about the people of Dominica.
In totality, this year's budget again demonstrates that the Labour Party cares about people, and I think I'm totally fascinated by that. Of course, in the area of housing, and then as you know, when you talk about the causes of poverty, poor housing is a direct cause of poverty, and that in itself is very important. Now, of course, we're talking about a number of sporting facilities throughout the country. The much talked about indoor sporting facility at Stock Farm, and of course the Master Basketball indoor facility, which is going to be the first of its kind in this country, and the list goes on. So I think it's a budget that actually cares about the people of Dominica, and again this government is demonstrating to the other parties, the other political parties, that the only way the Labour Party cannot form the government is that the Prime Minister and Labour has to declare, and this is straightforward.
You're watching National Focus. More when we return.
Scary! Everything just shaking and making big, creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking. Then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and Sidera.
Welcome back. Member of Parliament for the Collio constituency, Honorable Lady Catherine Daniel, says she is pleased to represent the people of her constituency and is looking forward to great things allocated for her constituency in the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Honorable Daniel says one of the main projects which will be done in her constituency is the construction of the Dubla Bridge, which was damaged by Hurricane Maria. Honorable Daniel says a team from the Ministry of Public Works and the Digital Economy visited several sites in the constituency which needs to be addressed.
One of the interventions is the bridge in the Dubla area, mashed up by Hurricane Maria. Mr. Speaker, just recently, the Minister of Public Works and the Digital Economy and his staff visited the constituency to assess some areas of concern. Mr. Speaker, the people were very elated by this, the concern that we had for them. And we did a walk throughout the communities of Coliho, Bioche, and Dubla. To date, Mr. Speaker, some of the things that the minister saw, they worked on it immediately because of the hurricane season. Blockage of a culvert. For a long time, it was there since after Maria, and with speed, lightning speed, I must say, equipment was sent there to unblock. So the people are now feeling safe because the water coming from that area could easily wash down some houses in the Dubla area.
The Member of Parliament informed that work has commenced on the Collio playing field.
I'm proud and happy to see that in this year's budget, an allocation has been made for the renovation or the uplifting of that playing field. And for this, we are very happy.
The constituency has also benefited from government's housing program. Last year, commitment letters were given to the recipients of the houses in Platte-Mapier. The houses are nearing completion.
The Collier constituency has not been left out, and Platte-Mapier housing is nearing completion of 10 units at a total cost of $2.9 million, of which $2.7 million has been expended to date, and the completion of these units is just a breath away. These units were first Petro-Carib units carried away by Maria, and so we had to the government had to find its resources to give, to bring back these houses and build a proper housing for the people of Collier. They are very patient. I've asked them to be patient, and they are waiting patiently. Every day, they have already received letters of commitment, so that is something they know they are going to receive. The 10 people, they visit there every day, and what is happening now is that they are building these soakaways so that it can be connected, and then we will move into the houses.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, says government is committed to working with farmers and fisherfolk to ensure the sector plays a critical role in dynamic Dominica. Government continues to invest in agriculture through financing from the World Bank to ensure that farmers are given the necessary tools and equipment needed for their farms. This in turn will ensure food security for all citizens.
We will continue to encourage and partner with the farmers to build a sustainable agricultural sector that will further boost regional trade, complement our efforts at expanding agro-processing, and support the diversification of our tourism products into agro-processing, and very importantly, putting more money in the pockets of farmers, Mr. Speaker. The objective of this government is to continue to implement policies which will result in a sustainable agricultural system that will guarantee food security, rural livelihoods, economic development, and growth. The 67 million emergency agricultural livelihoods and climate resilience project is currently being implemented. This will include, among other things, the propagation of 627,600 tree crops, 5,249,000 root crops, 837,000 vegetable seedlings over the next 5 years, as well as technical and financial support to farmers.
High on the agenda for the Dominica Labour Party government is the construction of a tissue culture facility at 1 Mile Portsmouth. This project will be financed by the government of the People's Republic of China at the cost of $13 million.
Final approval has also been given by the Physical Planning Division for the construction of a modern tissue culture facility at 1 Mile in Portsmouth. This project will be financed with a grant of $13 million from the People's Republic of China and is part of the government's efforts towards modernizing agriculture. We thank the government of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Agricultural Technical Mission for their continued partnership and contribution to our economy. We will continue to work with farmers, Mr. Speaker, to increase production of crops, which will be used to expand agro-processing. During this fiscal year, government will undertake a number of initiatives to increase the production and processing of root crops, including the construction of agro-processing facilities, which are expected to benefit 177 farmers and 15 agro-processors.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, farmers continue to export local produce to regional markets with the assistance of government. Meantime, Prime Minister Skerrit says the fisheries sector has bounced back nicely following the passage of Hurricane Maria in 2017. Following Hurricane Maria, government provided support to fisherfolk by providing boats and engines to those who were affected. Prime Minister Skerrit says two of the major projects which will be undertaken in the fisheries sector is the rehabilitation of the Roseau and Marigot fisheries complexes.
The government of Japan has graciously agreed to rehabilitate the fisheries complexes in Roseau and Marigot at a cost of $27 million. We thank the government of Japan for the generosity and support. The rehabilitation of these facilities will result in improved food safety and facilitate us in meeting the required sanitary standards for certification. It will also improve our ice and storage capabilities.
The 2020-2021 budget has made provisions for the further development of cultural infrastructures across the island. Minister for Culture, Honorable Rosalind Paul, says upgrades at the Old Mill Cultural Center has been ongoing, and once completed, the center will serve as a heritage site.
The new Old Mill stage was about 85% complete. The remaining work on this first phase is the wood cladding of the stage and the steel extension over the stage. A provision of $875,000 is also allocated for repair works to the pan house at the Old Mill.
The minister says $1.5 million has also been made available to facilitate ongoing repairs at the Arawak House of Culture.
At the end of the year, there was about 50% rehabilitation works at the Arawak House of Culture. The completed works included the entire stage, the wood cladding of the walls and railings, inside repairs to the Arawak, and also we have all of the chairs that are to be installed on island. So all the chairs at the Arawaks are to be replaced, and they are here on island. They have been cleared and will be installed shortly. A provision of $1.5 million is made this year to complete the project.
Minister Paul highlighted some of the Cultural Division's plans, which includes the implementation of art training centers in 3 districts.
The Cultural Division plans to set up 3 arts training centers in 3 districts in Dominica: Portsmouth in the north, for the south in Grand Bay, and Cassibus in the east. It is also the plan of the ministry to use community resource centers as a place of engagement where the arts and culture can flourish. Special training programs in folk dance, jingping, music, steel band playing, drumming, keyboard, and guitar will be held in the various districts of Dominica. There will also be need. COVID-19 has shown us that there will also be need for more online training programs and more marketing and promotion of culture and cultural activities online. A special training program will also take place as we seek to enhance costume designs and building.
The government of Dominica continues on track to achieving its goal of having 1 university graduate per household. Minister for Education, Human Resource Planning, Vocational Training, and National Excellence, Honorable Octavia Alfred, describes the people of Dominica as the most precious asset in the aim of building a dynamic Dominica, hence the need to create opportunities for each Dominican to fulfill their true potentials.
This government has invested more than $48,710,158.65 in enabling 2,786 individuals to obtain tertiary education ranging from associate degree to PhD level. Students are pursuing studies in varying fields in science, medicine, technology, business, education, agriculture, and the arts. In this regard, I wish to thank the Dominica State College, the University of the West Indies Open Campus, Cave Hill and Mona Campus, Monroe College, Midwestern State University, and Grambling State University, among the many other universities and colleges, including those in Canada, America, China, Europe, Morocco, Cuba, and all around the world.
Minister Alfred expresses her sincerest gratitude to the various countries, institutions, and organizations for generating the much-needed prospects for Dominica. Meantime, the Dominica State College will partner with the Chinese government to establish the first Confucius classroom in Dominica. This also aims in the development and modernization of tertiary-level education.
Dominicans will learn the Chinese language, culture, martial arts, and cooking. Technical and vocational education and training, which involves training that provides knowledge and skills for employment, is steadily gaining popularity at the global debates and government priorities for education and development agendas. Dominica State College was one of the 6 institutions in the Caribbean selected to participate in the Canada-funded Skills to Access the Green Economy program, in which women and youth at risk will be trained in the acquisition of technical and building skills.
The government of Dominica continues to provide support and facilitate the education of thousands of young Dominicans in the aim of evolving the education system. And now your weather update. A high-pressure system is expected to regain dominance across the area during the next 24 hours, producing a relatively dry atmosphere with occasional cloudiness and a few showers. From Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday, a westward moving tropical wave is expected to generate showers and possible thunderstorm activity across parts of the island chain. Moderate seas are expected during the next 24 hours, with waves height decreasing to 5 feet tonight. A gradual deterioration in sea conditions is expected on Wednesday, with wave height up to 8 feet overnight. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Shakira Pear. Thanks for watching.